ऑलराइट सो मेरे साथ हैं प्रफुल कुलकर्णी सर. ही इज अ ट्रेडर, ही इज अ बॉडी बिल्डर, ही इज द हीरो दैट एवरीबॉडी लुक्स अप टू. ऐसे मेरे को जब सर का मैं अकाउंट देखता हूँ तो मुझे वो जिंदगी ना मिले तो भी दोबारा का ऋतिक रोशन याद आता है. यू नो द स्टार्ट, डोंट मिस अप माय स्टॉप लॉसेस नेक्स्ट टाइम. एंड देन बॉडी बिल्डिंग भी है, सब कुछ है. Sir has very kindly agreed to come with us and share his learning, share his knowledge, his expertise, his skill set with us. And बहुत कुछ सीखने को आज मिलेगा. So I am really excited. एंड अभी जस्ट पहले मैं जब सर से बात कर रहा था उससे कि हमारे ऑफिस में बहुत सारे लोग फैन है सर के. वी हैव बीन फॉलोइंग सर फॉर अ लॉन्ग वाइल एंड बहुत सारे लोग के हमारे ऑफिस में मेंटर है सर. सो मेंटर इन द सेंस दे हैव बीन फॉलो, वो ऐसे वो सो दूर से सीखते हैं, मतलब सीखा उन्होंने जो भी शेयर किया, ऐसा पर्सनली मेंटरशिप वाला नहीं. बट या सो शुरू करते हैं आज का सेशन. हम लोगों का पहला क्वेश्चन सर मेरा जो आपको है दैट इज कि आपका प्रोसेस क्या है ट्रेडिंग का. इफ यू कैन गिव अ ब्रीफ आउटलाइन फॉर आवर लिसनर्स.
First of all, hi Vishu. It's good to be here, and thanks for all the kind words. So, coming to the process that I follow, I have been posting everything that I do. I'm like an open book. I've been posting everything that I do, especially live trades. I've been doing that for the last 2.5 years, and every single trade that I've taken, it's in a repository on YouTube. Playlist banaya hai live trading ka, so people can go on to my channel and check it. So people who have been associated with me, they know exactly what I do because I've shared everything openly. And basically, I'm a delta neutral non-directional trader. Usually, I trade short wall systems. That is, you short the volatility. So basically, हमारा कोई delta bets नहीं रहता है, and we just play with the walls. मतलब realized wall and implied wall में जो wall points जो बचता है हमें, we try to scalp that. But lately, now that we have 5 expiries, I have slowly I've transitioned myself into predominantly an expiry trader. And when you talk about expiry में walls का ज़्यादा मायने नहीं रखता because we are so close to expiry. The options are so close to expiration that sometimes like you'll be hurt with the gamma, but not much with the wall spikes. So I can say that I'm a delta neutral trader as of now. I cannot call myself a short wall trader because since I'm predominantly dealing on expiry days, so probably the wall component is not too much to call myself an short wall trader. But yeah, I'm a delta neutral trader. Most of the time I try to stay delta neutral, but with a tinge of directional bias. Like if I see some sort of a clear-cut price action, I try to position myself in that particular direction. So if I want to remove all these sophisticated, high-sounding words and try to put it in a layman's term, straddle, strangle, sell करता हूँ या जोड़े बेचता हूँ.
Awesome. This term जोड़े बेचना, I think ये ना हमारा बिल्कुल देसी स्टॉक मार्केट का जो असली वर्ड है वो यही है, जोड़े बेचना. I think. And
there is nothing wrong, na. See, the thing is like just because there is a complex term, just because there is a sophisticated term, doesn't mean that we have to use that.
Absolutely. And I think सबसे
जो है वो है.
रहते
जो है वो है.
बिल्कुल. तो सर थोड़ा और चीज़ों को भी सिंप्लीफाई करते हैं. आपने आई थिंक काफ़ी सारे लिसनर्स होंगे वुड बी न्यू टू मार्केट्स एंड दे आर स्टिल ट्राइंग टू ग्रास्प द होल्ड ऑफ थिंग्स. सो आपने दो आई थिंक बहुत अच्छे टर्म यूज़ किए विच वाज प्राइमरीली डिस्क्राइबिंग शॉर्ट वॉल एंड डेल्टा न्यूट्रल. सो थोड़ा बहुत एक इफ यू कैन कवर ग्रीक्स का इंट्रो एंड देन कि हाउ डू यू मैनेज एक न्यूट्रल पोजिशन यूजिंग मे बी आईवीज और कैसे वो कर सकते हैं.
So I always go whenever I want to understand something, I always try from the bottommost level. I try to understand from the point of first principles. Like I try to understand the core principles. So when people come to trade options, they are always fascinated with a lot of Greeks hai, gamma hai, delta hai, vega hai. They try to get into the semantics of that. But rather like your approach has to be from the point of first principles. So क्यों होता है ये? What are these Greeks? Like, why are they introduced in the first place? What is Black-Scholes model? Do option prices follow the Black-Scholes model, or just a Black-Scholes model is just a model which tries to explain why the options are behaving the way they are behaving? So you have to have a very clear understanding of these things. Then you'll probably start giving less and less weightage to Greeks. I generally don't give weightage to Greeks because I feel that it's not I feel, it's a fact that जो ग्रीक्स जो है ऑप्शन प्राइस को ही 5-6 कंपोनेंट में डिवाइड किया. फॉर एग्जांपल लेट्स से लाइक इफ एन ऑप्शन इज ट्रेडिंग एट 100 रुपीज, से 4 days to expiry, तो उसका थीटा डीके तो कांस्टेंट रहेगा, 4 दिन में वो लीनियरली डीके होना चाहिए. एंड देन अगर इतना डेल्टा मूव होगा तो इस ऑप्शन इतना मूव होगा. एंड अगर आईवी स्पाइक आएगा सडनली, मतलब कुछ रैंडम आईवी स्पाइक आए, तो इतना प्राइस ज्यादा होगा. तो बेसिकली दैट 100 रुपीज हैज बीन डिवाइडेड इनटू डिफरेंट कंपोनेंट्स. इसमें थीटा का कंपोनेंट इतना है, वेगा का कंपोनेंट इतना है, डेल्टा का कंपोनेंट इतना. बेसिकली आप, if I have to explain it to you in this way, the Black-Scholes equation, which consists of all these option Greeks, they are just a retrofitted model to express or to explain why the premiums are behaving in that particular way. But in the end, premiums कैसे behave करता है? Sorry. But in the end, premiums कैसे behave करता है? They are just the result of pure supply-demand dynamics. If I am willing to sell an option at 100 rupees, I'm able to sell that option at 100 rupees only because there is a counterparty willing to accept that at 100 rupees. And since it happens in a large pool of buyers and sellers, the fair price discovery happens. तो मैं समझ रहा हूँ कि भाई 100 रुपए में बेचना is sensible, and buyer भी समझ रहा है कि 100 रुपए में खरीदना sensible है. That is why the LTP 100 is established. Now this 100 will be तोड़ मरोड़ के, I'll say that 100 में इतना वेगा का कंपोनेंट है, इतना थीटा का कंपोनेंट है, इतना डेल्टा का कंपोनेंट है. But once you start understanding option premiums from a holistic point of view, I don't think you'll need a lot of Greeks. तो Greeks का मतलब समझने का कुछ ज्यादा importance नहीं है. I don't say that like it's completely useless or something, but at least for what I do, I'm a very utilitarian in nature. मतलब मैं जो सिर्फ वही चीज को मतलब मैं मेरे पास रखता हूँ जो मेरा काम का है. And for whatever that we do, or whatever that I do, I don't think I need a lot of Greeks का जो usage है. Probably like I use the Greeks, probably I'll say that, oh, I got stuck in a gamma spike. ये delta cost मेरा बढ़ गया. It's just to simplify explaining the terms in a language where everyone, all my peers would understand. For example, oh, gamma spike आ गया. मैं gamma spike आ गया तो उनको पता चल जाता है कि there is a sudden accelerated delta movement closer to the expiry, which spikes the options much more than it should have. करने की जगह मैं gamma spike बोल देता हूँ. So it's as simple as that. So I might explain Greeks for the next 1.5, 2 or 3 hours, probably like everything that is theoretical and conceptual in nature. But there are much better educators on YouTube who would explain that. But what I would tell your viewers is try to have a holistic understanding of why and how option premiums move, and also to accept the fact that, bro, this Black-Scholes equation, it's just a retrofitted model to explain why the premiums behave the way they behave. And once you do that, you'll have a very good understanding of those Greeks, and you don't start understanding, oh, यहाँ पे IV कैसे बढ़ गया, RV कैसे बढ़ गया. So once if you want to understand option premiums, like what we do, like जो जोड़े बेचना कहते हैं, it is called VRP harvesting. What is VRP harvesting? It's volatility risk premia. तो अगर आप individual words को देखेंगे, it's premia. मतलब premium को हम harvest कर रहे हैं. मतलब what is harvesting? We are getting something out of it. Like we are trying to harvest something out of it. किस चीज को harvest कर रहे हैं? Premium को harvest कर रहे हैं. And what is this premium? Premium किस लिए मिलता है? Because someone is willing to take that risk, right? Let's say like if I am buying a health insurance, I am paying a premium to the health insurance company. They are eating the premium, or they are harvesting the premium. And why am I paying that premium to health insurance company? Because I want to offload my risk to them. And they are willing to take that risk to them because they know how to manage that risk on the macro level. Similarly, if an option buyer, let's say, put option कोई 10 रुपए में buy कर रहा है, he wants to hedge his portfolio. Basically, he wants to offload his risk. And अगर मैं 10 रुपए का option में sell कर रहा हूँ, तो basically I am willing to take that risk. है ना? So what did we understand? We are harvesting the premiums, and those premiums are for the risk. Now, when it comes to car insurance or health insurance, what is that risk? The risk of diseases, the risk of accident. But when it comes to options, it is the risk of volatility. Right? That is why both call options, they are also considered risk premia. Put options, they also have risk premia. मतलब market ऊपर भी volatile हो सकता है, नीचे भी volatile. So that is why the term volatility risk premia harvesting. Right? Now, once you understand this concept of volatility, then it's very easy to understand what is IV and what is RV. Am I audible?
Yes, absolutely.
So Now, once you understand this volatility and how the risk is priced, then it's very easy to understand the difference between IV and RV. So there are so many people like who try to explain IV and RV in such complicated terms, theoretical, conceptual terms. Maybe but understand this. Let's say मैंने एक strangle या straddle को sell किया हूँ at 200 rupees for the next 4 days. Expiry होने के लिए market 4 दिन बाकी है and I have sold a straddle at 200 rupees. So generally thumb rule ये है कि if the straddle price is indicating around 200 rupees, it means that there is the 1 sigma जो event या standard distribution में there is 66% probability that the market will be within this 200 rupees. But suddenly if there is a sudden volatility, this 200 rupees का जो premium है that will spike. Why does it spike? Because the option sellers will not be willing to sell. For example, मैं तो sell करके बैठ गया हूँ, मैं loss में फंस गया हूँ. But if a new option seller looks at the market and sees that, oh, इतना market volatile हो रहा है, 200 रुपए में बेचेगा तो एकदम suddenly ऊपर जाएगा, suddenly नीचे जाएगा. मैं तो 200 पे नहीं बेचूंगा. So if there is no seller, then the buyer will also have to up his bids. अगर ask ज़्यादा पर है तो buyer भी ऊपर लेके आना पड़ता है. Because seller is not ready. For example, let me put it in this way. Let's say there is a 40-year-old guy. He's applying for a driver's license. Car insurance. There is a 40-year-old guy who is applying for a car insurance and he owns a, let's say, Swift Desire. Okay, family man. And then there is a 20-year-old guy who owns a Mustang and he applies for the same car insurance. Will the premiums be same? No, because this guy is more volatile. The probability of him meeting with an accident is higher. So the insurance company demands higher premium.
Right.
Similarly, if the market is more volatile, the option seller, who is nothing but a one-man insurance company, he demands higher option premiums. And that is why ऐसे मतलब वो market में, free market में, that supply and demand dynamics will meet at one particular point and which a fair price है, that determines where the option premium should be.
Right.
And जो हमारा जो market participants है ना, we are as clueless as everyone else around us. है ना? Buyer thinks that he is right. Seller thinks that he is right. That is why a trade happens. Like when I put on a trade, I mean to say that me apart from everyone else is an idiot.
बिल्कुल
है ना? मैं अगर 100 रुपए पे ऑप्शन बेच रहा हूँ तो मैं सौदा कर रहा हूँ कि भाई मेरे को पता है कि ये करना है. तो that's what happens. Like everyone thinks they are right and that's why a trade exists in the first place. That's why a trade happens in the first place. Now, the price at which the market has agreed upon to price that risk is called implied volatility. That is what the market is implying. मतलब 200 रुपए पे अगर straddle है और अभी वो 220 रुपए पे चला गया, that is what the market is implying. भाई अभी मार्केट वोलेटाइल हो गया है, 200 रुपए का जो स्ट्रैडल था अब वो 220 होना चाहिए बिकॉज सेलर्स आर नॉट विलिंग टू सेल एट दैट प्राइस एंड बायर्स आर आल्सो खुशी मतलब एक्स्ट्रा 20 रुपए दे रहा है बिकॉज दे आल्सो नो दैट मार्केट वोलेटाइल है, थोड़ा बहुत इधर उधर मूव करेगा तो मैं प्रॉफिट बना लेता हूँ. नाउ दिस इज इम्प्लाइड वोलेटिलिटी. बट ऑप्शन प्रीमियम उस पॉइंट पे होने के बाद जो मार्केट में जो रियलाइज्ड मूव्स आता है दैट इज रियलाइज्ड वोलेटिलिटी. हो सकता है कि वो 220 रुपए स्ट्रैडल होने के बाद मार्केट नेक्स्ट 2 दिन सिर्फ 50 पॉइंट के रेंज पे रह गया. दैट इज व्हाट हैज रियलाइज्ड. दैट इज द रियलिटी. है ना? किसी को पता नहीं कि समटाइम्स द ऑप्शन सेलर विन, समटाइम्स द ऑप्शन बायर विन्स व्हेन वी आर ट्राइंग टू प्राइस द वोलेटिलिटी रिस्क. What that is implied, we are implying it as market participants. But what happens in the market is realized. So as an option seller, what do we want? We want the realized volatility to be lower than the implied volatility. So I don't think anybody would explain in much simpler terms the contrast between like implied and realized volatility. So this is what it is. Assign some numbers, fancy definitions, some terms, and you'll arrive at the the conceptual or the theoretical definitions and the academician's definition of IV and RV.
एब्सोल्युटली, बहुत ही अच्छा सर यू पुट इट. मतलब बहुत सारे अच्छे पॉइंट्स. एक तो मेरे को बहुत अच्छा कंपेरिजन था. सो वी आर बेसिकली वेल्थ इंश्योरर्स एज यू वेरी सिंपली पुट. एंड सेकंड पॉइंट मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा कि एंड आई वांट टू एक्सपैंड अ लिटिल बिट मोर ऑन दैट. आई वुड लव टू एक्सपैंड ऑन इट. आपने बोला कि दो जैसे बंदे हैं, एक 40-year-old जो सिर्फ डिजायर चलाता है, एक है 20-year-old जो कि मस्टैंग चला रहा है. तो ऑफ कोर्स उसके ज़्यादा प्रीमियम्स होंगे. यू एज अ इसको हम लोग अपने स्टॉक मार्केट के फैंसी लैंग्वेज में बोले तो विक्स लो और हाई का हम लोग का भाई आईवी हाई है या लो है जब हम बेच रहे हैं उस पर. निफ्टी की बात चल रही है तो विक्स. तो इसमें व्हाट डू यू, सो एज अ सेलर inherent contradiction थोड़ा सा है. Of course, it's safer to sell to the 40-year-old guy जब हमारा volatility कम हो रही है तब मिलेगा, but at the same time आपका प्रीमियम उस समय आपको कम ही मिलेंगे. तो what should a seller prefer and what do you prefer कि high IV पे मिले या मतलब high IV पे do you try to take positions या फिर जब थोड़ा volatility कम हो जाए या फिर somewhere best of the both worlds type का सब कुछ.
Okay. See, this is where a lot of people, either jump into trades too quickly or sit on the sidelines expecting the IVs or the premiums to shoot up. But you have noticed that the low VIX regime continues to be low VIX regime for years together. तो आप लोग साइड में बैठे नहीं रह सकते. तो you have to come up with a way to navigate through different market regimes. For example, high IV में जब let's say like Corona crash के time पे, it was the premiums were so good that even positional naked option selling was also not such a bad idea. ठीक है. But in low VIX environments, कभी भी वो जो VIX जो expansion है, I don't want to use the word VIX because VIX in India doesn't make sense. And मैं IVs बोलता हूँ या walls बोलता हूँ. The walls might expand at any point of time. And first of all, option seller को क्या है? It is, we are gunning for mediocre returns in low VIX environments. है ना, प्रीमियम्स कम रहता है, आपका रिटर्न भी कम रहता है. सो इट्स ऑलवेज गुड टू offload some of your risk. And how do I offload some of my risk? Basically hedge your position. मतलब अगर मैं क्लोजर पुट ऑप्शन सेल किया हूँ कि उसका नेक्स्ट स्ट्राइक और 200 पॉइंट का दूर का स्ट्राइक कुछ भी एक हेज कर लो. So basically when that wall expands, you should not be out of the business. And for example, the car insurance companies, what they do is if they are in a, let's say, a highly theft prone area or जहाँ पे मतलब floods का chances ज़्यादा है, earthquake का chances ज़्यादा है, they offload some of the risk to some other parties who are willing to accept that risk. So you have to find it, you have to do it in such a way. तो जब low VIX environment रहता है, then you have to invariably assume that the VIX is low, the walls are low because of a reason. Because market is not sensing any sort of a threat. But at the same time, you should not open yourself up to some tail events or black swan events. So though it will reduce some of your profits, but it's always better to hedge your positions.
That gives me a segue into my next question. आपने hedge use किया था. So next, of course, question is around risk management. I have, we were discussing earlier also कि आपका risk management is probably one of the best I've seen in the stock market industry. हम लोगों के जो छोटी सी community है कि आपके profits either normal होंगे, एक अच्छे baseline पे चलते रहेंगे थोड़े थोड़े profits. कभी कभी आएंगे जो काफ़ी अच्छे high आपके good days आएंगे. बट आपके जो बैड डेज आते हैं वो बहुत कम आते हैं. सो देयर आर 4 पॉसिबिलिटीज. आपका हाई प्रॉफिट है, बहुत अच्छा है. एक होता है कि आपका थोड़ा बहुत प्रॉफिट है, थर्ड थोड़ा बहुत लॉस है, एंड बहुत ज्यादा लॉस है. तो आपका जो फोर्थ सिचुएशन है वो मैंने मतलब सो फार मेरे को नहीं दिखा. मेरे को थोड़ा बहुत जितने भी टाइम से आपको फॉलो कर रहा हूँ, आपके मिनिमम लॉसेस होते हैं, मिनिमम प्रॉफिट्स, और कभी कभी बहुत अच्छे आते हैं. तो वो कैसे रिस्क मैनेजमेंट यू?
I think this is the if you take any good trader, a decent trader worth his salt, the main job of the trader is to eliminate that fourth thing that you mentioned. बड़े losses नहीं होना चाहिए. Stay in these first 3 segments and you're good to go and you'll be profitable in the longer run. So as an option seller, तो लोग मेरे को पूछते हैं कि like why are you an option seller and what's that advantage? Are you completely here to eat that theta? To a certain extent, yes. I am here to eat that theta. I am here to eat that premiums for a living. But more than that, what it does is it automatically becomes a benchmark for my risk management. For example, let's say I have sold a call option for 50 rupees. Okay, let's say market goes flat. How much money will I make?
बिल्कुल पूरा का पूरा आपका फ्लैट है तो आप
50 rupees. Market falls by 100 points. How much will I make?
You have sold a call.
I've sold a call of 50 rupees.
If the market falls, it's entirely yours, even quicker.
Yeah. Huh. Let's say the market falls by 1000 points. How much will I make? Right? Irrespective of what happens, my return is limited. So if I'm willing to, if I'm only planning to make 100 rupees at max, automatically my risk management says that, bhai, don't give up more than 100 rupees if the trade goes against you. But when it comes to the option buyer, the dynamics completely changes because 100 रुपए का option 1000 भी जा सकता है. His reward is unlimited. So that's why what people do is sometimes they average down their losers. They pyramid their position, they average down their loser, martingale करते हैं in a hope of okay थोड़ा ऊपर आ गया तो मेरा double quantity पे ऊपर आ जाएगा. And we have clear cut examples of I don't want to take the names, but now that it's completely out in the open, Mr. Ghanshyam. So that person has just put, because of all that whatever hangama that happened, that person, he put the verified PNL. He had made somewhere around 6 crores in the financial year. But look at his 2-day or 3-day losses. In a single day, he has taken 4.5 crore loss. And next day, he has taken a 3.5 crore loss. So basically, if anybody who has traded in the markets for a decent amount of time, he completely understands that भाई option buying में martingale कर रहा है. It's like पहले 100 रुपए ऑप्शन पे बाई करता है, थोड़ा क्वांटिटी, अगर प्रॉफिट आ गया तो बुक कर देता है, छोटा प्रॉफिट दिखा देता है, एंड उसके बाद नीचे आएगा तो मार्टिंगेल करता है, अगर उसको और नीचे आएंगे तो डबल मार्टिंगेल करता है, उसके नीचे आएंगे तो देयर विल बी डे व्हेन द मार्केट कंप्लीटली गोज अगेंस्ट हिम, एंड दैट इज द डे व्हेन ही बुक्स अ बिग अमाउंट ऑफ लॉस. तो आप समझो आप साल में 50 लाख कमा रहे हैं, बट सिंगल डे आप किसी दिन 40 लाख रुपए गवाए हैं. इट्स नॉट एट ऑल ट्रेडिंग, है ना? सो दिस इज व्हाट option selling does to me personally. So for me, once I know that my reward is this, I'd be the stupidest person on the world. I'd be the stupidest person in the world to give up something more than that.
So do you, so जब आप जैसे trade करें and the trade goes against you, do you mercilessly, heartlessly cut your trade? या थोड़ा बहुत aggressive किया, या अपनी opposite side आप, so let's say you entered with a delta neutral and वो एक side में पूरा फटता जा रहा है. So do you make your strangle को straddle बनाने की कोशिश करते हो, या फिर you cut the entire thing, या कैसे, how do you manage that situation?
Depends. See, for example, like I come every day to the markets with a particular risk appetite in mind. I don't come with a reward expectation in mind. I come with risk appetite in mind. भाई अगर मेरा आज इतना लॉस होता है तो I'm out for the day. I do all sorts of adjustments, all sorts of firefighting, all sorts of dancing around with the markets. I do everything within that risk limit. The moment that risk limit is hit, our trades are not like entry, exit, stop loss trades. Right? Trades, we would have fought at least 10 times with the market. ये adjustment किए रहेंगे, वो adjustment किए. Irrespective of that, if the market has managed to give you an L, take it happily, go away, say that boss, you win today, I'll come back tomorrow.
Right. Right. So again, that is, it's not, so of course that is the best thing a person can do कि आपने बोला मतलब, but it's not so easy to say कि ठीक है, have to happily say कि ठीक है आज today you win. I think what really happens with the people in market is कि आप, even if you मतलब losses हुआ तो regret लेके जाओगे, and then even if you make some profits, फिर आप देखते हो कि यार ये तो मैंने बेच दिया, ये तो और ऊपर चला गया. And so एक regret concept.
I'll tell you why that happens. Okay, because like people want to end in green on every single day. Daily basis pe they want to end in green, and the losses they take on to their take it as a hit to their self-worth or self-esteem. And that is because they haven't seen or they haven't given themselves the opportunity to become profitable in the longer run. For example, अगर आप 6 महीने ट्रेड करोगे बहुत ही प्रोसेस ओरिएंटेड से, आपको पता चलता है कि भाई 6 महीने में तो मेरा तो 30% दिन तो लॉस में निकला है, बट इवन देन आई हैव मैनेज्ड टू मेक प्रॉफिट. सो दैट गिव्स यू अ हिस्टोरिकल एविडेंस टू योर ब्रेन. है ना? फॉर एग्जांपल, लेट्स से लाइक यू आर टू स्केयर्ड टू गो एंड टॉक ऑन अ स्टेज. ठीक है, फर्स्ट टाइम यू वेंट एंड टॉक्ड ऑन अ स्टेज, लाइक यू वुड बी प्रॉब्ली शिवरिंग, बट देन nothing happened. Like you did well, people applauded you and you got like good reviews about your speech, and then your brain says bhai itna bhi bura nahi hai, just go and do it. That is the historical evidence that you keep giving your brain. Like वो loop चलता रहता है. So every time you take a loss, you have to step back and look at it from a bird's view. ठीक है, आज loss लिया, how has been the week, how has been the month, how has been the quarter, and if you are doing it in a professional way, you'll understand that भाई these short term जो dips आते हैं, they don't matter as long as the dips are not too deep and as long as you manage to cut your loss within your permissible risk appetite. है ना? So basically you have to give your brain the historical evidence कि भाई in spite of taking multiple small losses, I'll still be profitable month after month, quarter after quarter.
And sir, do you think in this regard does backtesting and backtesting manually or process oriented, does it help?
I've said it in multiple other podcasts as well, because like I'm not a big fan of backtesting, at least how it is done in current Indian scenario. Because जो लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, like they are just time को vary करके, stop loss percentage को vary करके, like this is what the maximum people are doing. But yes, backtesting would help if the hypothesis is derived from first principles. For example, like you are sitting in front of the markets and you understand that, oh, the market dynamics is such and such. I can see there is a discrepancy, like there is an edge, slight edge here. I can exploit it. Let me form rules around it and see if it works. How do I see if it works? Okay, before putting my hard-earned money on the line, let me just go back and see whether it has worked in the past. बट यहाँ पे मैक्सिमम लोग मतलब इंडिया में जो बैक टेस्ट कर रहे हैं, जो ट्रेट्रॉन पे मतलब स्ट्रैटेजी प्लेस में जो एल्गोस चला रहा है, दे आर ऑल कर्व फिटेड बैक टेस्ट, है ना. वो 920 को चेंज करके 923 कर दिया तो मतलब पूरा रिटर्न्स वेरी हो जाएगा. सो इट मींस दैट दे आर ऑल पर्टिकुलरली रैंडम कर्व फिटेड बैक टेस्ट्स, है ना. तो बैक टेस्ट शुड बी डन नॉट जस्ट बाय crunching historical numbers, but the hypothesis of the backtest has to originate from the first principles. It has to originate from a sound logic.
Right. And even I think they don't put your psychology to test. And in the moment when your real money is on the line, तब एक अलग game ही अलग होता है.
And I'll tell you, like there are so many people, like because I get a lot of messages and lot of comments and all that. Like they say that, sir, मैंने एक strategy किया है, तो स्टॉक मार्केट में मैंने स्ट्रैटेजी रन किया है, इट हैज गिवन 60% रिटर्न्स विद अराउंड 10% ड्रॉडाउन. बहुत ही अच्छा है सर, मैं कल स्टार्ट करूं क्या. तो मैं बोलता हूँ वो 60% जो रिटर्न है ना, उसको डिवाइडेड बाय हाफ, आई मीन डिवाइडेड बाय 2 बेसिकली. दैट इज योर एक्सपेक्टेड, दैट इज व्हाट द रिटर्न यू आर गोइंग टू गेट इन रियल मार्केट्स. एंड ये जो 10% जो रिटर्न है ना, उसको मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 2. दैट इज व्हाट योर कर्व, दैट इज व्हाट योर equity curve might look like. Because भाई एक मिनट का कैंडल को OHLC पे आप लोग बैक टेस्ट कर रहे हैं थर्ड पार्टी सॉफ्टवेयर पे. यू आर नॉट कंसिडरिंग द इंट्रा मिनट जो स्पाइक्स आते हैं वो कंसिडर नहीं कर रहे, स्लिपेज नहीं कंसिडर कर रहे. यू आर नॉट कंसिडरिंग those one-off days where the exchange goes down, the broker goes down, your internet goes down, or sometimes like you forget to take that trade. So maybe that day happens to be a big winner and that completely skews your distribution. So there are so many things that you're not taking care of. So don't just go by those numbers. Take a have realistic approach, and also don't curve it.
Absolutely. In fact, एक और चीज हम लोगों ने recently notice किया, what happens with these backtesting platforms is आपने लगाया कि इंट्रा मिनट भी है, सब कुछ है, but the moment it hits your stop loss ना, आपने अगर वो ₹5 का stop loss रखा है तो वो 5 में ट्रेड काट देगा, which will not happen in real life. वो आपका जो कटेगा वो
that's impact cost, that's slippage.
Yeah, वो स्लिपेज किसी प्लेटफॉर्म में बैकटेस्टिंग में कभी नहीं आ सकती.
नहीं आएगा.
बट सिमिलरली एक और जो अभी एक नया मूवमेंट शुरू हुआ, दैट इज अराउंड एल्गोस, व्हिच यू आल्सो जैसे कि एल्गो में ये होता है. सो हाउ, व्हाट इज योर थॉट ऑन एल्गोस?
Algos are something like which reduces human effort. अगर मैं रैंचो के भाषा में बताऊंगा, जिप अप डाउन like everything is like it helps your it helps you from punching orders manually. But if somebody from the masses think that, oh, algo is like a money making machine, bro, there is nobody who's more delusional than you. Okay? The algo is only as good as the rules which have been fed into them.
Yeah.
And the rules have to come from a trader. है ना? And you'll only be able to exploit whatever the discrepancies in the market, exploit those edges in the market if you have enough experience or if you have given enough screen time in the markets. Only then those edges will be visible to you. You know that, oh, यहाँ पे ऐसे हो रहा है, यहाँ पे ऐसे हो रहा है, इसको ऐसे कर सकते हैं. That hypothesis you'll only be able to get with screen time. And then you convert that edge into quantifiable rules. And then you refine it, then you backtest it, and then you put it into production. So यहाँ पे जो algos चला रहा है ना, like आप मतलब ask your viewers to comment down, तो how many of those algos are profitable? I would say less than 5% or 10%. And again, like there are so many algos which take massive tail risks, and वो लोग जब risk का और leverage का पैसे उठा रहा है, but they are just like they are days away from, they are just one day away from blowing up. So people don't understand the bigger picture.
And I think as retail traders हम लोगों के पास वो access भी नहीं है ना, वो सो डेटा स्ट्रीम इटसेल्फ, जो HFTs हम लोगों के बैठे हुए हैं, बड़े बड़े जो मतलब देव गॉट ह्यूज चंक्स, एंड उनकी वही बिल्कुल सर्वर बिल्कुल NSE BSE के बराबर वाली बिल्डिंग में बिल्कुल दीवार तोड़ के सर्वर घुसाया हुआ लाइन, उससे कहाँ वो एल्गोस मैच कर पाएंगे मतलब the question.
No, you don't have to invariably be an HFT to make money. आप mid frequency भी trade पैसे बना सकता है, low frequency भी पैसे बना सकता है. If I'm a positional trader, why would I need an HFT? है ना? So it's not just about access to better and better capital, but it's about you having figured out where the discrepancy is, where that edge is, and then forming the rules around that. I'm not going to compete against HFTs ना. मैं हर सेकेंड में मैं ऑर्डर डाल के मतलब मैं कट नहीं कर सकता, इतना फास्ट एग्जीक्यूशन में नहीं कर सकता. सो आई विल ट्राई टू फॉर्म रूल्स अराउंड द सिस्टम्स which I can practically deploy. That is why I cannot simply fathom, executing such huge quantity of orders at 3 o'clock. For example, 3 PM में मैं order execute भी करूँगा ना मेरे broker में, the moment by the time it goes into the broker and gets executed, it's 3:05. वहाँ पे मेरे को 50 पैसे का भी मतलब फर्क आता है. That's a huge thing, and it snowballs into a big number by the end of the year.
Right.
So you have to be extremely price sensitive if you're dealing with higher quantities. And again, it's completely futile to compare yourself with the performance of HFTs because they operate on a completely different setups and completely different approaches towards the markets.
Talking about 3 PM move, sir, मतलब जो ये 3 PM को हम स्पेसिफिकली भी डिस्कस कर सकते हैं कि क्या चल रहा है मार्केट में. हम लोग के ऑफिस में उसको मार्केट अंकल आ गया बोला जाता है. But freak trades in general, so you may be doing everything right, you've created your rules, you have your psychology is right, you're following your rules, backtesting में सब कुछ अच्छा है वो होता है, but sometimes things go out of hands because of freak trades or market until at 3 PM. ऐसे में क्या, how do you deal with such situations?
First thing, okay, you have to understand that, are you competent enough to play a particular ground? ठीक है, let's say like I'm playing tennis and I'm good in grass court and suddenly I go to French Open, I can't do it. And so you have to understand where you can navigate the markets and where you simply cannot. If you simply cannot, either reduce your risk, reduce your position size, or altogether avoid it. There is no point in fighting the markets. Market में जो trading जो है वो flow के हिसाब से होना चाहिए. You have to be in a flow. You should not like constantly be in a fighting state. So yes, 3 PM में suddenly moves आता है. That's mainly because of money flow. ठीक है, बहुत सारे लोग मतलब यहाँ पे वहाँ पे पूरा मतलब बैठे रहते हैं, and the option premiums are so less. And just like how I am an option seller and I think that भाई अगर मैं 2 रुपए कलेक्ट करने को बैठा हूँ 3 बजे, तो वो 2 जैसे 4 होता है मैं कट करना शुरू करता हूँ, और किसी का थोड़ा एक्स्ट्रा रिस्क एपेटाइट होगा वो 5 रुपए पे कट करेगा. So what happens is once we all start to exit, that gives a push in one particular direction, and then somebody who is sitting with cash in hand, he'll say that oh 2 रुपए का ऑप्शन 8 रुपए है, ठोको इसको, and then that 8 comes back and the other side option goes like so. Both sides, like the movement happens. So it's simply the dynamics of the cluttered option sellers, or probably the cluttered cluster जो बनता है वहाँ से money flow जो होता है, and it's a dynamics of that. And there is nothing that you can do to avoid it. And when you talk about the freak trades and all that, as of now, there are not many instances of freak trades. Yes, there used to be a year and a half back, but now I don't see too many of these freak trades. But yeah, when you trade in immature instruments like Sensex or Midcap Nifty, yes, the volumes are still yet to pick up. And till that time, reduce your size. And yeah, I mean, there are certain ways to navigate different things, right? Like, and certain things only you have to figure out, because certain ways of navigating the markets are pretty personal. आपको कैसे जमेगा वैसे ही कर सकते हैं, है ना? So that is that. So freak trades, and sometimes like even after doing all sorts of due diligence, you'll still end up getting hurt by one of those things. And that is something like आपने बहुत अच्छे तरीके से business बनाया, but government ने एक नया policy लगा दिया which invariably pretty much ends your business. So there are certain things which are completely outside your hands, but make sure that even if such a thing hits, you're not blown out.
Absolutely. टॉकिंग अबाउट मेरे को आप बोलते हो उससे ही वो मिलते हैं। आपने बोला कि सेंसेक्स एंड उसमें भी वॉल्यूम्स एक पिकअप किए हैं, बट आई थिंक यू आर वन ऑफ द मोस्ट वन ऑफ द अर्लीस्ट अडॉप्टर्स इन दिस सेगमेंट। फिन निफ्टी अभी आप ऑलरेडी यू आर डैबलिंग एंड सेंसेक्स में भी कुछ कुछ आपने एक्सटेंड करना शुरू किया है डिस्पाइट ऑल द ग्लिचेस एंड एवरीथिंग। सो हाउ इज योर एक्सपीरियंस बीन एंड वेयर डू यू सी दिस?
I mean, it's a constant uptrend when it comes to volumes, when it comes to the smoothness, when it comes to the lower spreads. Of course, like the volumes will pick up eventually. And it's just that abhi thoda shifting ho raha hai, the mid cap nifty has been shifted to Monday, reduced on Wednesday. And from probably by the end of September, all the instruments on expiry day, at least on expiry day, should see decent liquidity to hit market orders at any given point of time in a day between 9:15 and 3:30. See, that's what we want. Okay? As traders, we just want constant or a good liquidity throughout this 6.5 hour window. Agar ye mil gaya, so it's set. Because as an option seller, the biggest threat for you, even on intraday basis, is the liquidity cascade and liquidity drying up and you not getting the fills to exit your order, even in certain case of flash crashes or something. But as long as liquidity is good, if there are market makers, and that should give a good amount of moral strength for you to punch orders at market.
Right, awesome. So is to hoping कि वो improve होगा. So we are nearing a closing time, but before we close, एक I wanted to understand, आपने थोड़ा बहुत उन्होंने बीच में टच अप भी किया था ये टॉपिक कि मार्केट में बहुत सारा अभी it's difficult to learn कहाँ से शुरुआत करें। तो इट मे बी कि बहुत सारे स्कैटर्ड सोर्सेज, पीपल से रीड बुक्स, वॉच वीडियोस, आप खुद ही प्रैक्टिस करो, मार्केट को प्रीमियम दो, बहुत सारे मेंटरशिप कोर्सेज वगैरह चलते रहते। मैंने शुरुआत भी इसी से की थी कि हम लोग के ऑफिस से बहुत सारे लोग एकलव्य बन के आपके वीडियोस दूर से देख के सीखे हैं आपसे। बट वेयर डू यू थिंक वन शुड स्टार्ट लर्निंग ग्राउंड के लिए क्या अच्छा सोर्स है?
I'd give a holistic picture, okay? To learn anything, first you need to learn the rules of the game, right? Let's say if you want to trade in the stock markets, at least you have to understand what are the different ways to trade. कैश ट्रेड कर सकता है, पोजिशनल ट्रेड कर सकता है, स्विंग ट्रेड कर सकता है, इंट्राडे फ्यूचर्स कर सकते हैं, पोजिशनल फ्यूचर्स कर सकते हैं, ऑप्शन बाई कर सकते हैं, ऑप्शन सेल कर सकते हैं, ऑप्शन सेलिंग में भी डायरेक्शनल कर सकते हैं, एंड देन हेज ट्रेड्स कर सकते हैं, नॉन डायरेक्शनल ट्रेड कर सकते हैं, प्योर वॉल ट्रेड्स कर सकते हैं, स्टॉक ऑप्शंस में ट्रेड कर सकते हैं, अर्निंग्स ट्रेड्स कर सकते हैं, पीआर ट्रेड कर सकते हैं, दैट इज पोस्ट अर्निंग ड्रिफ्ट ट्रेड कर सकते हैं. सो देयर आर so many things that you can trade. These are all the rules of the game. For example, cricket में अगर आएंगे तो wide है, no ball है, off volley है, cover drive है. So many things. These are the rules of the game. And to understand the rules of the game, anything will do. Go through books, go through videos, and don't spend money to understand the rules of the game. Understanding rules of the game should be free. ठीक है? If somebody is telling you कि I'll teach you candlestick patterns, tell him to and learn it by yourself. There are so many free content. What you can pay money for is somebody who can help you to get that slight edge. I'm not saying that the edge comes definitely, I mean, the edge has to definitively come from him giving you a trading system. It can just come from him giving you a different perspective that completely changes your way of looking at markets. Right? If somebody can do that, for example, let's say, what do performance coaches do? They're not going to teach you like how to trade or like how to perform. They'll just, tap into something which you can completely leverage at that point of time. So I'm not sure like if most people would relate to all this, what I'm talking, because like newbie traders it's going to be very hard to relate to all these things. But definitely once they understand like what I'm talking about, they'll definitely appreciate it much more. So don't waste your money learning the rules of the game. Rules of the game आप फ्री में सीख सकते हैं, वॉरसिटी पढ़ो, देयर आर सो मेनी वीडियोस, लाइक बहुत सारा फ्री वीडियोस है, बट एंड ऑल्सो ट्राई टू फिल्टर आउट हु आर एक्चुअली जेन्युइन एंड हु आर नॉट. Don't go to a obese guy to be your fitness trainer. Similarly, don't go to a king trader to teach you how to make money in the markets. So if you are asking or if you are taking a course or a mentorship for someone, ask for his 2 years P&L statement. अभी तो मार्केट में इतना सारा फेकनेस आ गया कि भाई आपके बगल में लैपटॉप ओपन करके पूरा फेक दिखा सकता है. And at this point of time, the only genuine thing that is left is 0 verified P&L. And अभी अभिषेक कर का जो इंसिडेंट हो गया, दिस स्टॉक बर्नर का इंसिडेंट हो गया, घनश्याम जी का इंसिडेंट हो गया, एंड दिस हैज क्रिएटेड अ गुड सेंस ऑफ अवेयरनेस नॉट जस्ट अमंग ट्विटर कम्युनिटी विच इज ऑलरेडी kind of mature and already inquisitive and already critical of the things that they see, but it has also percolated to YouTube and Instagram, where a majority of the people are just, oh, shiny, what is that, shiny ornament syndrome, or something on that note. मतलब जो भी मतलब shiny दिखते हैं तो वो लोग they try to chase that. Even there, that awareness has kind of percolated, which is a good thing. So yeah, that's about, like, learning anything. And then after that, there is no shortcut, that you have to then find something that suits your psyche, and you have to dabble into the markets, and you have to have real skin in the game to actually increase, and how do I put it, intensify your learning.
Absolutely. This was absolutely amazing, sir. This interaction with you. बहुत मजा आया बात करने में. Before we close for the day, please do. I want a promise from you. Please do allow us to post you again. I'm sure there's so much more to learn from you. बहुत कुछ सीखना है. And हमारे comments से भी बहुत सारे questions आएंगे, तो of course वो भी मेरे को पूछने होंगे. So please do allow us to host you again, sir.
Definitely sometime soon. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much again for taking time out, especially इस समय आज I think Wednesday है, market आज चल रहे हैं.
Positions,
so that's lucky for us. But thank you so much again for making.
Thanks, Vishnu. Pleasure's all mine.